2, week 2, night 2, episode 2. Oh, that's good. Two. We are here at AIM Dance Summerfest Art Talks, and I am with Kally Jones. Yes?
Yes.
Welcome, Kally. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So you are here from Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we start by taking a moment and telling us a little bit about yourself, kind of your training, your background, and what brings you to Southeast Texas.
Okay. I grew up I was born in Bartlesville, and then I grew up around the area, a lot of small towns. I went to the same school from pre-K to high school.
Yeah.
So it was one of those things. And so I trained at the same dance studio from the age of 6 to graduation, and then I started teaching, and I taught there since I was 16. And I just recently stepped down, so it was like 13 years of teaching at the studio. So, but out of high school, I started dancing with the Legacy Project in Tulsa with Adam and Shayna Acosta, and they really formed how I viewed dance. Like, they really changed like the way I view it, because I grew up in like a competitive studio, like learn to dance, put it on stage for a season, and then just cycle out. Which I had great training. I call my dance teacher my mom. She basically adopted me. So there's nothing, I learned so much, but it was very different once I stepped out of that.
Yeah.
And into a more urban company. And I did that for a little bit. And then my body kind of started to shut down on me, and I thought I was done dancing for a long time. And I had a lot of lifestyle changes. And just recently, this past few years, I've realized that I'm not done, and I'm stepping back into it. And I applied for Race Dance Collective's Curate program, and I was one of the choreographers, and that kind of put me in some of the Oklahoma City scene. And so recently I've just been bouncing back and forth from Tulsa to Oklahoma City a little bit, and I'm in a dance company in Tulsa also.
Yeah. So let's talk about styles and genres. Since we grew up in the dance studio, competitive studio, and then you said you made this transition into this company, into a more urban style. So kind of what were the differences between that competition to the urban style or the new information that was introduced to you?
It was very different, because I went from more classical ballet, tap, jazz, musical theater, lyrical, a little bit of clogging.
We love that clogging down here.
And I did a little bit of hip hop. There wasn't a ton. And then once I went into, it was a contemporary hip hop company, and I was relearning how to dance, kind of, because that was you're very like, your arm goes here, right?
Yes.
And then in hip hop and contemporary, you get into like, what does your body want to do, instead of what are not really forcing you to do, but
well, it's the codified technique versus the freestyle, the intuitive, the innate movement of the human body. Yeah, that's a completely different set of tools. It's a completely different set of information, how you receive that information, how you present that information. It's very cyclical. It comes in, but it comes right back out.
Yeah.
And so what is that translation that is happening in there? Absolutely. Rewiring the brain.
Yes.
Rewiring the brain a lot. That
I used to hate improv. I hated improv. And then I don't remember when, but now it's one of my favorite things to do, is to improv and teach improv.
And why?
Improv, I started liking improv, and then I tried to figure out how to teach improv. And it was a totally different beast, but it was so fun to try and get my students to understand their body enough to create who they are in movement. And so it was a deep dive. And I have a BFA. I'm also a painter, and so I've used a lot of art elements and those kind of thoughts of like 2D art in my some of my practices of teaching improv.
Yeah. Again, a different modality, a different way of seeing things and feeling things. And I think I actually teach improvisation here at the university. And it is one of my favorite classes to teach because of that idea of who are you? And 18, 19, 20-year-olds, no, I didn't know who I was. No. I mean, there are some days I still don't know. That's new information coming in, and it is really wonderful to see them to be able to come into that space and say, no, I enjoy this because of this. You know, I often hear that in studio training that like lyrical or contemporary are their favorite styles. Well, why? Because I feel. That is a full sentence, because I feel. It's a way for them to express themselves, to introduce them to the idea of expressing themselves and it being okay, and it being, I want to use the word safe, but I don't think that that's the correct word, but it being appropriate or it being allowed. Yeah. And I find that teaching that improvisation is that my first responsibility is creating the space for them to be able to live inside of it. So again, I'm not going to use the word safe, but creating a brave space.
Yes.
So that they feel comfortable with asking questions of themselves.
Yes.
Facing themselves and these different ideologies and tasks and things. And it's really beautiful to see them come into their own as artists, as humans, as movers, as thinkers. I think that that's a space where they can really start to come into their own.
Yes. And learning that mistakes are not bad things.
What's a mistake?
No, exactly. Like that. What is a mistake?
Yeah, what is a mistake?
Just a redirection and a learning point. And it's, I think, a lot of learning the technical, classical side of dance. It's very much like they try and get your quirks out of you to fit the mold of a dancer.
It does feel as if there is a right or a wrong.
Yeah.
It does. I mean, when you have a codified technique, an arabesque is an arabesque.
True. Yes.
Like there's no way.
You need to learn it.
There's no way of getting around it. This is what it is. This is how you do it. This is the line that you are trying to achieve. But there are both sides of that. And I really feel the improvisational practice, being able to understand who you are, learning to listen to your own body, is going to empower who you are within that codified technique.
Yes. Those are our tools, but what do we do with those tools?
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. So the solo that you have this weekend, what category would you put that in as far as style? If one.
Say contemporary.
Contemporary. How do you define that?
That's a good question, because a lot of contemporary like has so much. Like you can go all the way over here to like lyrical ballet contemporary, and then you can go, and mine goes really far this way into hip hop.
Yeah.
And so it's just like this. Mine would definitely be at this end, I would
think,
end
of the spectrum.
I think it's contemporary.
Yes. That's a really relevant answer. I don't know if relevant is the word I'm actually looking for, but this idea of what is contemporary. Well, contemporary is now. The word contemporary means now. It's of this time, of this place. And I would say in dance, of this person. Because I feel like contemporary is more of a style than a technique. And it allows that individual voice to come in. I mean, not to nerd out too much, but from what I understand, that the word contemporary was used the very first time that modern and ballet shared the stage under George Balanchine and Martha Graham. And they not only shared the stage, but they shared dancers. So it was the first time you had ballet dancers doing this modern dance technique, modern dancers doing this ballet technique, and you get this really beautiful mix. And then here comes, as you said, here comes the contemporary ballet, right? And then you start to push those ideas, those concepts of modern dance, and now you have contemporary modern. And I feel like the word contemporary is really just an umbrella of how are we approaching this movement modality right now in this time in this space through this voice.
I haven't really thought about it that way, and I really like that, because contemporary really is just like an exploration of what are we doing right now.
What are we doing right now? Yeah. I mean, if you look at the evolution of it, it's like if contemporary is what are we doing of this time and of this space, what was popular was ballet and modern. Then you have the rise of jazz and then hip hop. So you start like salt and pepper seasoning, you know, you've got the isolation, syncopation, musicality, all of these things that are starting to come in. Now we're moving into, you know, now you start to add like the acro and all that kind of stuff. And is it dance? I don't know, but it's movement.
It is movement.
But it is movement. But I think that contemporary really is this complex idea. And I feel like the one thing that we don't talk about enough is that it really can be seen through a single voice in that moment. If it's right now, this time of this space, through this voice, through this lens, this is your interpretation of what you would consider contemporary hip hop. In the solo, I do see a lot of isolation and syncopation. You can really see the articulation moving through the body. And I wouldn't say that I see like a hard pop and lock.
Yeah.
But there's absolutely the influence of it in there. Absolutely. And then the contrast of this isolation syncopation with this beautiful, soft music. And the contrast of that becomes something else and creates another complex of it, because that's not what you would typically see with a song choice that you have. Can you speak to that a little bit of your choice, the song choice with this contemporary movement?
It took me a long time to figure out why, but I figured out that it's the realness of like the grit of just like string instruments and a voice and like live performance and like the very like, I don't know if it's the right word, but like folky, it's heavy texture in voice with a string instrument, as I kind of go towards those songs for contemporary, because there's so much you can play with. And texture is a really, really big indicator of what I do when I choreograph.
Yeah. Why is that, or where does that influence come from?
It's the feeling.
Yeah.
Like you're watching somebody, but you can feel it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And like texture in 2D is literally what does it look like it feels like, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
If that's the right
word. Yeah. I mean, I understood. I don't know if it's the right word, but I totally understood what you said.
Yeah. And it's so fun to play with the different, like, going and high contrast. High contrast and texture is my big like things that I play with. So having like something very, I know,
when you talk about it, like it's a tactile, right? That idea of, I mean, if we said sandpaper, everyone knows what that feels like.
You going back to how does it feel?
Yeah.
Who am I and how does it make me feel? So textures, I feel like heavily in like that. And so maybe one part of the music, it feels totally different to them. So it's not going to look the same, even though it's the same piece of music.
Yeah. That's really beautiful. I don't play with music as much as I should.
Yeah.
So I find it really fascinating when someone can connect to music in that way. I often say I don't hear it the same way. And so it's hard for me to actually hear the complexities in the music. It's hard for me to isolate different instruments, different beats, things of that nature. And so I don't feel that I actually have a relationship with the music. And so when I see an artist who has a sense of musicality, whether it be rhythm or connection, or for lack of better words, the complexity of it. It does feel like it is a relationship back and forth between the music and the movement. And I find that such a challenge for myself, that when I see an artist who can do it, it's like a dynamic that really draws me in. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Thank you for that experience.
Thank you. Yeah. Sorry, I was listening because I am so, I personally am so guided by music. It's hard for me to understand the opposite.
Yeah.
And so.
For sure. But I think that's why, like, it is the opposite. And that's why I'm so drawn to it. When I can see, like, oh, I want to know how you do that. I want to know what you're hearing. I want to know what you're feeling, because I'm not sure that we're on the same page.
Yeah.
But yet
I like it.
Yeah. But I like it. It's drawing me in, and I'm pulling something from it. So I'm still able to engage with it, even though I don't necessarily know the hows. Okay. I don't know, like, I don't know the stitches on these jeans, but I know that they came together, and I like the pattern that they make.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
So it's like, like the technicality of it, the background, the complexity, that part doesn't resonate, but the overall, I'm still able to connect. And I'm always fascinated by things that I don't readily understand.
Me too.
Yeah. I think curiosity is key.
Yeah. Just the wonder of all the things.
Yeah.
Because I know there's a lot of people that like to create and then put music to it. And that is just, oh.
That's me.
See,
that's me.
I sometimes envy that, because it's solely movement. But then that's what makes us all magic.
Yes.
That's
why we have so many different voices on the stage this weekend. I mean, we have 9 different works going up. One of the works is actually choreographed by summer dance intensive students who have never choreographed before. And that's exactly what we did. We did a movement study. So we started on that first day of compositional. This is how these are tools that you can use to generate movement. These are tools you can use to design that movement, to shape it in a way that you want it to be shaped. We generated phrases, duets, solos, all of these things, and then we started to stitch them together. And that's where I come in, and I kind of help facilitate where that is, and I'm on the outside looking at the overall picture. But I randomly went through a list and I said, what does this sound like? And they're like, ooh, I like that one. And that's actually how we selected the music for this work. And then when they started moving with the music, they were noticing, oh, when we do this, there's like this thing that happens in the music. Can we make that happen again? And so they were finding ways to connect to the music that I didn't hear that, but you did. So that's beautiful. But yeah, that's typically where I start from.
I need to start doing more of that, just so I can keep my brain from settling in.
Yeah, and I need to start listening to music more. Yes, so thank you for bringing that information to us, for encouraging us to look at it from a new way. Thank you for traveling all this way to be with us. We really appreciate, for sure. Appreciate you sharing the space with us this weekend.